Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Rewatchers Council. Guys, lucky you. You don't have to deal with just me this week. Back. An honored member, in good standing, I might add, to talk Faith, Hope, and Trick with me this week. Brennan, Mystical Mar. Brennan, how the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's exciting.
Yes. You know what I'm excited about? That I actually got the intro and the credits and all that done right this time. They say they can't teach an old dog new tricks, but look at me.
You did good.
Yes, I am now at like a grade 3's level of using computers. I'm pretty excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, speaking of grade 3, this is season 3, episode 3. The episode that really starts off season 3 in my book. The first two are like Anne's a good episode, but you can totally forget about the last one. Don't have to worry about it. This is where season 3 begins for me, and it's going to begin a run of just bangers. The next few episodes, so good, introducing so many people that you're going to want to know more about in the coming seasons and stuff like that too. It's it's fantastic season.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one starts. Its original air date, Brennan. It's October 13th, 1998. So
Wow.
as we're watching this, it's very close to the anniversary, the 26th anniversary. It's going to be like this for a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This one, written by David Greenwald. The last episode he wrote was Ted.
Mm.
So it's been a while since he wrote one. He's been busy with something else. This is also his second last episode that he'll write for Buffy. There's another show that he's been working on that he's going to write and direct a few more from,
Mm.
which we'll talk about after this season. It's directed by James A. Contner, and the last one he directed was Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
Oh yeah.
Number one movie. Not much has changed when it comes to the pop culture in the last week. It seemed
Mm-hmm.
in '98. Number one movie was Ants. The
Oh
number
my
one
god.
song, yeah. The number one song, "The First Night" by Monica, still great.
Wow.
The number one song in the UK, still "Roller Coaster" by Bewitched. Awful, terrible. And the number one song in the good old nation of Canada, my home and native land, Brennan, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
Crush by Jennifer Page once again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not, it's not as much of a national nightmare as Chumbawamba being number one for 8 weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was number one for a while up here. Catchy song.
Well, it got
Okay.
knocked down and then it got back up again.
Oh my goodness gracious, it's too soon, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Too soon. All right. DVD synopsis. You know what I'm gonna do? I'll turn on a little light. How's that? To see the
That's good. I'm
shine off
good.
my hair.
Looking
Think this
good.
is all natural? Well, it is.
Mm-hmm.
DVD synopsis. A charismatic slayer named Faith shows up in Sunnydale and quickly wins over Buffy's mother and all of Buffy's friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much she wins over Joyce. I think Joyce really likes the idea
Well,
of Faith for sure.
she won over me.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah.
I remember back when I first saw these episodes,
Hmm.
I was like, she's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no denying. Oh, it's a dish. Now,
Mm.
back to the show. Let's start. There's a free period for all our friends at Sunnydale High. All those enrolled, anyways.
Yes, senior year when you can go off campus.
Yeah, is that a thing in America? Like,
It was true at my high school. It was
yeah,
true.
and yeah, I never had any problem.
You could go across the
There was a
street
free.
and get out food senior
I
year.
lived like a block and a half away, so I would just go, not very exciting, just go back to my house, but a bunch of friends
Mm.
would go over to my house and stuff like that too. And I didn't even need a free period to do it. Sometimes I just did it, which wasn't great. Not
I have to
great.
admit, I didn't take a free period. I didn't. I had 6 classes
Oh, I had the
of my own volition.
Yeah, I don't know if I had that many ever.
Mm.
A day. I probably planned it, so I did not. Now, Willow was talking about what a meaningful moment this is, a rite of passage, stuff as being a senior, but she's going on a little too long. So Oz and Xander kind of gently help her to get going, and you can tell that she was a bundle of nerves by doing this. Starts work.
And I must say, how adorable was she?
Yeah, of course. Well,
I mean, redhead. You know how it is.
uh, yeah, so yeah, she's kind of scratching and crawling. She's just in case they change their mind, it could ruin her perfect record. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I never had to worry about any of that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
good thing is, she didn't have to go very far. Now, I don't know, Brennan, if this is just in like the boulevard ahead of the school, like just over the sidewalk, or if there's like like a park in between the two roads for the school. It doesn't make any sense where Buffy's sitting for this picnic she
It
made
is a
them.
little strange, yes.
Yeah. Let's say this that in this episode the couples are more self-conscious, I guess, being a couple around Buffy. They officially uncouple as they get near, and yeah, it turns out was talking with Buffy and stuff like that. She's got another meeting with Snyder coming up.
Oh, Snyder. Oh no.
Yeah. Willow's also wanting Buffy to get back into the dating scene.
Oh gosh.
It's only been 3 months or so since she murdered her boyfriend in cold blood. Get it? Cold blood because he's a vampire.
But was it murder? Mm-hmm.
No. It was very much self-defense. Now, yeah, Willow's pointed out a guy named Scott Hope for
Scott. Yes.
in the faith, hope, and trick part. Scott Hope. He's been played by a fellow Canadian. Here, Brennan. Fab Filippo, which is a great name.
That's a great name.
Yeah, he's done mostly Canadian shows, though, like Due South, Being Erica, Rent-A-Goalie. You think Rent-A-Goalie would have been a huge hit here in Canada. It was not.
Goalies, hockey,
There you go. Yeah, so I guess the biggest named thing he did other than this was Queer as Folk, I guess.
I remember that show, yeah.
Yeah, but he was a voice actor as well. He's did a lot of voice acting stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was into. So yeah, it turns out that Scott was into Buffy last year, and maybe she's in a state of pre-readiness for dating. This is Willow's hope. So Scott gives her a walk-by hello. Buffy's more interested, though, in just getting her life back to normal, including school and shopping and dating, she says, too. Yeah, and as normal as you can as being
as
a superhero.
normal as a Slayer could be, yes.
You would think that, by her saying, she's also interested in maybe getting back to dating, would give Scott some hope.
Oh.
Thank you very much. I will accept awards in person. I have no problem with that. Now, next we get to see the absolute ugliest burger joint mascot I've ever seen. For a place called Happy Burger, there's nothing happy about that guy.
He's creepy. He's a creepy looking.
It was the worst. Yeah, it looked like something like grew out of that old Big Boys mascot.
Yes, it looks
a sentient tumor. Anyways, Lemos pulls up. The guy asked for a diet soda medium, which obviously means this guy's probably up to no good. Nobody ever asks for a diet soda medium. You know what I mean? Oh, but that's how you say it, diet soda medium, or you say that on purpose?
Well, I just say diet medium.
Yeah, well, diet too. Yeah,
I don't bother with the soda part.
That's true. You'll actually give a brand name. 89 cents for that medium soda. That's not so bad.
Yeah, I heard that and I went, you could never get that nowadays.
So the man who orders talking to somebody about how quaint and respectful Sunnydale is, which is nice to hear. He does mention that it is of the Caucasian persuasion, though, for sure. But he also appreciates its death rate, which, again, is a red flag. When somebody mentions that, it's not good. And we see is a co-passenger in silhouette. And the first guy says to him, it makes DC look like Mayberry.
Oh, yeah.
It's DC. I don't know how Washington, D.C. is now, but I know in the 90s it was notorious.
It's still kind of notorious.
Yeah. And Mayberry's notorious for wholesomeness. So there you go.
Oh, yes. And Griffith.
Yeah, of course. I was going to say, and Barney Fife. And no one says anything about all the deaths that happen in Sunnydale. We all know that. The other man finally speaks, and he says there's only one thing he wants, and that's to kill the Slayer. Bad news. Bad news for Buffy again. No one ever wants to say they want to give Slayer a check. You know what I mean? A check for $30 or something like that. That would be nice. No,
and now
always
we get the ultimate fast food scene.
Yes, he finally pays that 89 cents for a soda. It was weird that the car just stays there for a bit while they talk, and that the drive-through window guy just stayed with him.
Yes, and it becomes drive-through really quick.
And then we get to see the guy has a hoof hand. The co-passenger has a hoofed hand. He starts talking about the gruesome culinary things he's gonna do to the Slayer. Probably unhealthy, especially for her. Like, sucking the marrow out of her bones and stuff like that, which isn't good. But all this talk makes the first guy hungry. So he turns his vamp face, grabs the poor drive-through guy, being attentive at his job. But he was just being attentive. He's dragged into the limo. And he is dinner for our guest for our dinner. Yes, he got the drive-through. You can't deny it. So, anyways, of course the first vampire there is Trick. Trick, one of my favorites for sure from the entire series.
He's terrific.
He's played by K. Todd Freeman. He was in The Dark Knight. Touched by an Angel.
No, which character was he in The Dark Knight?
I can't remember. I know he's Dr. Baxter.
He's one of Gamble's sidekicks, right?
I would imagine so. Yeah, I was trying to remember him from Dark Knight, but you guys are the good ones at trivia. I always forget these things.
He looked familiar.
Yes, he was in that show, The Rehearsal. I don't know if you ever watched that. That came out, was it last year or the year before? With the guy from Nathan For You. It was so good.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. I found out something weird. I guess he was down for Spike. Like, he was the runner-up for Spike.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
That would have been very interesting to see him at Spike. I'm glad we got him for the episodes that we do, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Trick's fantastic. So we go over to the Bronze. It's been a while. Go over to the Bronze.
The Bronze.
It's a dream, another dream for Buffy. This time she's dancing with Angel. There's a lot more talking in this one. He tells him that she misses him. Then her cluttering falls off. They make a big point of this.
Oh, yes.
Angel grabs it. She starts having a flashback. A flashback in her dream, Brennan.
Oh, yes.
That's like double. That's almost a double flashback.
It's Inception.
Yes. Everything's folding in on itself. Yes, it's of course when she kills them. Meanwhile, all the Scoobies are just sitting there at the table watching, not doing anything. At least they were doing some stuff when she was actually killing them. She tells him that she had to do it. His hand is bleeding now from the ring. He says he loved her, then yells at her to go to hell.
So basically, he does Edward from Twilight.
Right. He gets all corpsey after that, and he says, I did. But except he says it like, I did. Like he was answering a question and stuff like that. I think they misread that line. But anyways.
Confusing, yes.
and it wasn't well done. Maybe they needed another take. So this is where Buffy, of course, wakes up. Oh, good, it was all a dream. You know what? Between you and I think she's feeling a little bit guilty having to kill him. I think
Just
that
a
might
little.
be. I think
I
that
mean,
might be weighing on her.
And you have to murder your boyfriend and send him back to hell. I mean, come on.
Well, it's every young lady's rite of passage, I thought. So, anyways,
Closing the door to hell by killing her boyfriend?
yeah. I think it happens more often than we know. It's just a woman
Probably.
thing. It's one of those things they talk about in the bathroom. So she goes in her drawer. She finds her clotter ring. Then her and her mom are off to see the Beast.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And even worse, the Beast is Principal Snyder.
Yes, and we must say that Armin Shinraman is fantastic.
He's always good. He's always good.
He's always good at everything he's in.
Yeah. Well, I think he has a good run on this show. I'm just saying. He tries to give her some conditions for re-enrollment here, Brennan. Joyce certainly doesn't like his attitude.
Oh, yes.
Starts reminding him of what the school board said. He finishes her sentence. Welcomes Buffy back. Buffy back at Sunnydale High. Thank goodness.
Finally.
The 2-episode nightmare is over. So one of the conditions he was talking about was doing makeup tests.
Ooh.
And Joyce is like, well, you can't tell her to do that, but there she is in this episode doing makeup tests. So that's the one thing I guess that was a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's also fun that Buffy and her mom each let Snyder know what they think.
And Snyder was overruled.
Yeah, that he was overruled by his own school board. They give him some nyas. But maybe worse, Brennan. So as they leave, his secretary calls saying the mayor is on line 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
The ominous mayor. I wonder if he'll ever show up. Guys, we'll just have to wait and see. Next, we get to see Buffy and Willow in the library now. Buffy's back.
Buffy
in the library.
In the library with the revolver.
Oh my goodness! This is just like a game I remember.
Yeah.
Giles asks Buffy if she remembers the demon Cathla. Yeah, I don't know why she would.
That's a silly question.
I don't know. It's been the central thing that's happened to her life up to this point. Anyways, Buffy reminds him it would be nice to get just a simple welcome back before all this stuff happens again. You know what I mean? He tells her that he's working on a binding spell to keep a Cathla dormant, which is nice. Yeah, thank goodness. Someone should have done that before. This piques Willow's interest a little bit. Of course, Willow's been a little, dipping her toe in the sorcery pool, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, she asks if she can help with the she can help. Giles says, yeah, it's with research because it's a very sensitive and difficult spell. This one, it isn't anything like re-ensouling somebody, but of course they have no idea what's going on here. Yeah, and there's quite a little bit in Aramaic.
Ooh.
Yeah. So what he does need from Buffy are details about how she defeated a Cathla and Angel. She plays it pretty cool here. She just tells him what happens. He asks if it was how long after him and Xander left. He asked if it was 30 minutes. She said no, it was more like 10. She does skip a few details by saying that she stabbed Angel and he was sucked into the void and the world was saved. She yada yada'd a tiny bit, maybe an important bit.
I don't think my junior year indulged sealing a portal to hell.
Well, all right.
Well, my English. Well, I don't want to talk about my English class that year.
Oh boy! All right. Giles thinks all this information is going to be very helpful. Buffy then leaves for one of those makeup tests we mentioned before. Willow starts commenting on some of the magical ingredients that Giles has lying about, as one would have in a school's library. It concerns him though that and wants to know what she's been conjuring. And she mentions that she attempted Angel's Cure there, and then some pretty small stuff after that. Asks if he's mad at her. He's not. We'll just say, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think there might come to a point where he is unhappy with some of the magical choices she makes. But that's not for a while. So, we go back to the bronze. This time, we're actually at the bronze. It's no dream. At least I don't think so. Yet another mellow song. Oh, it would drive me nuts going to the bronze.
Boy.
It would drive me nuts. So dour all the time. This time the band playing, Brennan, Darling Violetta.
Darling Violetta.
Have any idea, would that name perk your ears for any reason?
Nope.
This band would go on to write the theme song to Angel. So there you go. That song, much more interesting than this. Because this was not good. Oz and Willow just making out on a couch.
Of course.
In the bronze. Buffy's doing a little third wheeling here, as she's come to be known to do as of late. But this time she comes with drinks. And I don't know why there's a bar that has any dignity at all serving things in red Solo cups, but she has.
Well, maybe it's not alcohol. At least we can hope it's not alcohol.
We can hope. We can hope, but we can almost 100% say it is actual beer. Even when the party from the last episode, Oz is going on about malt beverages.
I'll take a little root beer in a red Solo cup.
There you go. That'd be nice. Some sarsaparilla, as they used to say. So, of course, Scott shows up while they're talking because, Willow told him to.
And Scott always has the worst timing.
He has the worst timing, and he talks like an old prospector. He asks her to dance. She tries to awkwardly say no. Scott says he'll just wait by the dance floor. And so she could just, at some point, mosey on over. Let's keep track of all the old things he says. So there's Mosey. No harm, no foul, he says. Willow tries to encourage her. She says she's not ready yet. Willow wants to know why, and I'm telling you, I think Willow should maybe mind her own beeswax.
Yeah.
Maybe she's getting a little too pushy when it comes to the romantic front of her friend. When Buffy'd be ready, she'd be ready. You know what I mean. Now, also the guy said Mosey, but Oz did appreciate that he said the word Mosey. So there you go. He's making points in Oz's book. Maybe Oz can date him. Now, Xander and Cordelia show up. She starts complaining about a couple that's dancing on the dance floor. She calls the one girl Slut-O-Rama, which I think is a little harsh. The other guy, she calls Disco Dave, which is 100% apt.
Yes.
Yeah, he's wearing a polyester. What is it? What don't even know what you call those shirts? Well, the butterfly collar and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and he is. She asked if the last thing he danced to was Casey and the Sunshine Band, and this guy get it, Sunshine Band. So yeah. Buffy doesn't think he's into Sunshine. Now, I will say, for as slow as that music is, that guy is aggressively disco dancing.
Well, I mean, if you were dancing with Elijah Disco, you would probably go crazy too.
I guess you're right. Yeah,
I suppose you're
right. Yeah. Well, and to her merit, I guess, she seems like she's really right into this. Well, she's they walk off together, which is nice. Maybe they could have some alone time. You know what I mean? Buffy, her Slayer senses start tingling though here, Brennan, which is never good. Never good for a certain sector of Sunnydale's populace. But before she can actually catch up to them, of course Scott's there. Scott's like it's like a stub toe. It just seemed to run into things. So, she snubs them. Her and the Scooby go outside. Courtney thinks they're probably just making out, just like everybody else in that place, it seems.
Well, Faith certainly likes to do that.
Yes. They hear a bit of a crash. Willow says it doesn't sound like they're making out. Then she says, unless I've been doing it wrong. Which is
I was wondering about that line.
Yeah, a 100% Willow thing to say. So,
well, someone like Faith, I imagine lots of crashing would be involved.
There's a lot of smashing and crashing. You're right. Now we get to see Disco Dude moving in for a little bite, I think. But unlucky for him, his dance partner punches him in the face. Then gives him an awkward roundhouse kick. I think this is must have been her stunt coordinator or stunt double's first day on set. Because,
possibly.
It's slow. Hey, it's not the best.
Doing a bit of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, for sure. Now just thinking of that. You're exactly right. So while she's doing this, she runs up and introduces herself as Faith to Buffy. She asks to borrow Buffy's steak. Borrowing would actually
figure that someone like Faith would have a virtue name.
Yes, of course. Did you notice she's left-handed?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was I never noticed that before. And when just watching the show, it's like, hey, she did that left-handed. I'm not left-handed. It wasn't a big thing to do. My mom is. My wife can write with both hands for some reason. But yeah, then she says, "Thanks, B. Couldn't have done it without you." So Faith is coming in here, fully formed. You know who Faith is. Well, you know who they want you to know Faith is right away. Of course, we mentioned she's played by Eliza Dushku. Probably the most famous thing she did before this was Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter in True Lies.
That's right. Yes.
But she go on to do, all kinds of stuff. Bring It On was a big one. My favorite thing she did after this was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Of course, there was the True Calling and I think Dollhouse, right? Then
the less said about Dollhouse, the better.
That is very true. She go on to do some others. I was writing down stuff and I just remembered. Oh yeah, she also did Torchwood, the spinoff from Doctor Who. She did The League, a show that I really liked. She also was a voice actress. She was both She-Hulk and Catwoman. Some pretty iconic characters. Yeah. Some pretty iconic characters. So they all go back into the Bronze, but there's a coffee shop in the Bronze. This is the first time.
Very strange. Very strange.
Yeah, they're just all chilling with coffee now, and there's donuts there. Very strange, for sure. The glass front case too. All right, whatever. Now she's telling a story about wasting a bunch of vampires in front of a church in Boston while butt naked.
Somehow I don't think that's very religious.
No. Well, if she was in the church, that'd be worse.
That's true.
If that they could get in there would be an interesting thing. Also, they're outside it. This, Xander's a little bit gets interested. She's got Xander's attention. Let's just say that.
Imagine.
Yeah, no kidding. With his, girlfriend right there.
Xander.
Yeah. She asks Buffy how she finds it interesting how after slaying, you feel all hungry and horny. I think, what does Buffy say? Sometimes she has a hankering for a low-fat yogurt.
Yeah, I think I'm with Buffy on this one.
Yeah. It's funny how, what is it, that Faith is definitely the id for Buffy or whatever. It's everything that Buffy could do but doesn't. Now, Cordy has some expositions how Faith was called as a slayer. She's reminding, because when her died and stuff like that. That's when he called or whatever.
Because
Just
Ken was
rehashing that for
dead,
the audience.
and then
Yeah,
all that
rehashing it
stuff.
all for the audience. Faith tells him she came to Sunnydale to meet and compare notes with the infamous Buffy.
Infamous would be the right word.
Yeah. Since her watcher went to a retreat in England.
Supposedly.
So, well, yeah, as far as we know. She does ask Buffy about using the rocket launcher,
Mm.
how she defeated the judge, so she knows about that, which is cool. Xander wants to know about a story she has about wrestling an alligator.
Yet
And
again, without
yeah,
any clothes on.
he's hoping the story has to do with less clothes. It
Oh,
turns out
boy.
she says, well, the alligators didn't have any. you know.
Faith is cute, but she'd probably be a nightmare as a significant other.
Oh, she'd be terrible. Terrible. Now, turns out, the story says a vamp in Missouri had them as pets, and she had to wrestle one. I think there's more to that.
Or she says wrestling.
Yeah, wrestle.
Which is
Yeah.
odd that she comes from Boston.
Cordy does want Xander to move on from the subject.
Yes.
Just asking about her
and
naked.
I do too.
Obviously. Faith asks Buffy what her toughest kills was. And of course, it's going to do the same flashback to Angel. Like, yeah, we get it, guys. We understand.
Mm-hmm.
She mentions the 3. Do you remember the 3?
Those guys are pushovers.
She didn't even kill them. They knelt down to the master because they failed him, and they all got stabbed from behind by Darla. I think Darla did it. Anyways, yeah, to get their penance. It was penance for failing.
Darla all along.
I think they could do a television show about it.
Mm.
No one's ever done a show like that before. Now, Oz is concerned about Faith's werewolf position.
Oh, boy.
Which he should. She says as long as he doesn't scratch her or try and hump her legs, she's 5x5. Brennan.
From there, I don't see Oz doing either of those things.
5x5 is an awesome. 5x5 is how you know Faith.
Yeah.
There's going to be an episode later where you can tell someone by them saying 5x5. Yeah, it's what she's going to be known for. 5x5, I didn't think meant anything, to be fair, but I looked it up. I guess it means loud and clear, or like working perfectly.
They used that quote in the movie Aliens.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I know it's a military thing they were saying from World War II when I looked up.
But that's where I know it from.
Now, Faith is hoping that her and Buffy can get into some watcherless fun, since all the watchers are away in England here. But unfortunately for her watcher at Buffy's is in the library right now, wishing he got an invite. How do you not invite the only watcher currently watching? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and the Watcher's Retreat doesn't make sense because isn't that slightly unsafe?
You would think so. Now, Buffy introduces Faith. She calls Giles young and cute. Well, compared to her.
Yeah, Anthony Head's okay.
It grosses out Buffy, I can tell you that. She asks her a show of hands to think who else is grossed out. Willow does not raise her hand.
Yes.
And, it's not like they make a big deal of it. She just keeps her hand down for it. Giles says it's good that she arrived when she did. Of course. Turns out she arrived just in time. Well, it says that big evil's brewing. 2 people have disappeared. Of course, there's an area in Southdale called Sunset Ridge. If you're going to live in Southdale, in Sunnydale, you don't go to Sunset Ridge. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Buffy says she'll patrol after dinner, invites Faith, which is nice. So Buffy can study. Will and Xander take Buffy or Faith away so Buffy can do some studying first. Faith tells Giles that they'll talk some weapons later. That's always going to interest Giles. He gets a little charmed by this. Getting a little bit of an evil look from Buffy here. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like people encroaching on her life here. He tells her that he's having problems with that Akathla binding spell. That he's lacking requisite details. Okay. Like her physical location. Buffy just essentially tells him again. Her here, angel here, statue there, sword. That's it. Giles just tries to get a little bit more, but Buffy, of course, heads off. Promising to video the next time she kills Angel. Which I like. Willow and Xander now giving a tour of all the places the gang nearly meet their end in just that one hallway of the school, which is fun. Which we also. I like. What did Willow say she was getting sucked into a pit of mud or something like that? I don't think that was mud. Faith seems to like them, but she might like one a little more. She mentions that B, Brennan's wound a little tight. She needs to find the fun. Buffy being told she's wound a little tight is something that just keeps running throughout this series. Everyone thinks Buffy's wound too tight. Maybe she is.
Maybe.
Anyways, Faith gets some water. Of course, bumps into Scott. Scott just seems to be everywhere all of a sudden. We never seen him before in this school. Now he's everywhere. They recognize each other from the bronze. They start yapping with each other here. Of course, Buffy, this is when Buffy shows up. Passes her second makeup test. Buffy, famously, not a test girl, but she's getting through these, so good for her. Notices Faith flirting with Scott. Buffy's getting a little irked, seeing how she hadn't given Scott the thumbs down. Yeah, is that right? What is it? What is it now? The swipe right? Is that what the thing is? Is it swipe right if you like the person, swipe left if you don't? I can't remember. So yeah, she hasn't swiped left on him. That anyway. Buffy babbles like me a little bit, and then Willow says, "You really do have to find the fun, B." Not the best thing to say to her. Buffy starts glaring at her once again until she walks up to Faith and Scott. Now, more of this 1920s stuff from Scott. He says the Faith has been telling him tall tales. He said Mosey. He's saying tall tales to a girl he likes. I don't know. In the 90s. He later asked Buffy. Yeah, he's going to ask Buffy to a Buster Keaton movie festival, of all things.
Interesting.
Well, he's from the 1920s, right? I don't think I'm wrong about this. It's the Hellmouth they can do anyway. Anyways, Faith asks Buffy if he's seeing anybody. Commercial break. There we go. Now we go to a warehouse, one that there seems to be plenty of in Sunnydale. Maybe it's a storage place. I don't know. Maybe it's not a warehouse. Anyways, we get to see the limos. Other passenger, finally. We get to see what this guy looks like, and oh boy, not a handsome double. Hold on, I found a picture of the guy right here.
Yep.
Yeesh.
And
Actually,
then,
he looks like a guy I worked with named Elvis. You couldn't see the huge scar on his face in that picture, though.
Continuing the theme of fast food.
Oh boy, yes,
Yeah. Guy.
This time it's even easier. It comes to them. Trick tells him that the entire town is wired with fiber optics, which I found enraging. Like my street just got fiber optics last year.
Wow.
In Winnipeg. Oh boy. Yeah, well, that's what you get for living in Canada. Anyways, Trick keeps talking technical jargon. This guy, not impressed by it. I can tell you that. Trick says he wants to stay local and think global. He's a modern vampire. Brendan, you got to hand it to him. One thing he wants is especially to use his global outreach for getting food.
Yeah.
If he wants a nice little, a Filipino snack, he can have it at his door the next day. What are you going to do?
Disturbing thought.
Yes, it's not great. Anyway, Scratches just wants to talk about getting the blood of a slayer. That's what I've named this guy until we get his name. It's just so you know. He said he'd kill 100 Slayers. He doesn't care that Trick tells him there's now that somehow there's 2 Slayers in this town. He doesn't care. He's just like every other big vampire that comes to town. He'll kill 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Always so braggadocious. Yeah, I guess no, there hasn't been a Slayer that's just measured up to our heroine, I suppose. And now he says this one particular Slayer is going to pay for what he did or what she did to his face. So you see the big gouge, big blinded eye. So obviously now we know this is Faith, as we've seen. Buffy has not ever met this guy before, but this guy, Hoof Guy, wants revenge. Frick assures him he's going to pay, or she's going to pay, but in the meantime, he ordered dinner. That poor pizza guy. I do enjoy the touch of him putting on the oven mitts before he goes to grab him through the door.
Yeah.
There's been other episodes where they just haven't cared. There's sunlight, they don't care. Just bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of dinner, we get over to the Summers place. We get a nice dinner between Joyce, Buffy, and Faith here. They're all eating. Faith tells Joyce that she loves slaying. You know what I mean? Something that she never hears from Buffy. She likes the feeling of knowing she's going to win and doesn't let negative thoughts start creeping to her head here. Joyce 100% is all for this and mentions how negative Buffy is sometimes and that she should fight that. You know, Buffy says she's working on it. She couldn't really care less what's saying. Joyce goes to get Faith a soft drink. Always a soft drink in these things. And Buffy seems to be follows her mom into the kitchen. She's feeling a little bit maybe jealous of Faith. Her mom is does seem to be taken with her a little bit. She calls her she's calling Faith creepy. She thinks she's getting single white female here.
Oh, yeah, and I got that reference.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that movie very well. Anyways, we could put a pin in this whole single white female thing here. Maybe there's an episode coming up where they get a little closer to that. Buffy says she was just getting her life back now and doesn't want to share it. Joyce is hoping that Faith can actually share the slaying, possibly, Brennan, even take over. Joyce, just wants her kid to have a normal life. You can't blame Joyce for that. Buffy tells her that nobody gets to take over for her. And then for some reason tells her mom the only way you get a new Slayer is when the old one dies. And it does not take long for Joyce to put 2 and 2 together and realize that her daughter at some point was dead. Buffy tries to comfort her by saying it was just for a few minutes.
I don't recall ever having to say that to my mom. So.
No. Well, no. I know my mom said it. She wished I was dead, but never that I actually was. So Joyce hates this. She hates what her life has to be. Tells her she doesn't want her to die. Obviously. What kind of mother says that? Buffy tells her she knows how to do her job. Don't worry about it. She's never going to die again. Probably.
Never.
You know what I mean? But now she has some help, which is good. Yeah. She's she's doing this while watching Faith absolutely gorge herself. And I don't know what that is. It was like was that French fries? I don't know if it was fish and chips. She had carrots at one point, so who knows?
Well, Faith just likes to eat, apparently.
Yeah, with her hands. Like, come on.
Definitely goes with the character.
Yep. Well, she's a monster. Buffy and Faith now patrolling. Tensions are rising here. Buffy's always been a little bit prickly, but she is feeling uncomfortable with this right now. She thinks Faith has a problem with her. Faith has, thinking the exact opposite. Thinks that, Buffy has a problem with her, blah, blah, blah. Faith says something in Buffy's bottle needs uncorking here.
Yes.
Brennan. Maybe the angel thing. Ooh, and you just don't. She didn't know better than not to bring it up. That she's not moving on from. Buffy tells her to mind her own business and stay out of her life because it's her life. Faith asks B if she's threatening her. Buffy asks why is F's lips still moving. Oh, these two. You know what? I think at some point these two might have it out.
Yeah, I think they might not get along at some point.
At some point, there's something that's telling me these two they're moving towards a confrontation of some type. Faith asks if she thinks Buffy can take her. The answer is yes. And, well, we'll see what happens later. But before we can actually see if it's true now, vampire attack, Brennan.
As always, the vampires show up at just the right time.
Yeah, maybe lucky for Faith.
Or just
Buffy
their
does.
own time.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Buffy dusts one. She's still fighting another. Faith has one of her own to worry about. So she gets the upper hand and lets it have it with an absolute flurry of face punches. Buffy tells her to stake it.
Rather aggressive.
Oh, yeah. And help her as another shows up, just to toughen the odds a little bit. Faith is still working through some trauma here on the other dude's head. One of the vampires attacking Buffy says, "For Kakistos we live, for Kakistos you'll die."
And not like that name will have any funny jokes.
Yeah, and she just says that the guy says it for no good reason. I don't know why he said it. I can tell you another thing. It would suck to have to spend the entire, afterlife being someone's lackey. What a bad job.
Yes.
Being a lackey for someone named Kakistos. Anyways, Buffy pleads to Faith to actually kill this guy. Or I guess he's already dead, to dust this guy's. But she just keeps pulverizing him. Starts telling it that it can't touch her. Buffy pulls hers off and then mercifully stakes that demon. Like, you ever feel bad for a vampire before? This one maybe. You get what you deserve, obviously. But yeah, Buffy finally that's the damn thing. Buffy wants to know what her deal is. Buffy thinks she has a problem with violence again. If Faith asks Buffy if she has a problem against violence, then maybe she's in the wrong line of work. Buffy reminds her the job is to actually slay the vampires, Brennan. Meanwhile, there was two vampires attacking Buffy. She only took care of one. The other one just ran away, and they were fine with it.
Apparently.
Yeah, I think they forgot. There was that other vampire that had to be taken care of. Anyways, I'm sure he'll be, he'll just, turn around and give his life to charity. He'll be fine. Now, at school again, Giles is trying to stick up for Faith. They're always trying to stick up for whoever's antagonizing Buffy. He calls her a plucky fighter that got carried away. I don't know if you remember when Buffy was working out some issues on a past episode where he gave her a stern talking to about doing this exact thing. Anyways, Buffy admits she's been being a little unreasonable, but insists Faith needs some help. Agreed. Giles says he'll try to reach her watcher now. Maybe something he should have done before. He asked Buffy if there was anything distinguishing with these vamps. She said one said something about kissing toast. Or taquitos. I like taquitos.
Actually, that sounds good.
Yeah. Giles asked if she meant Kakistos, then rushes to the library. Turns out Kakistos means worst of the worst in Greek. Oh, of all the luck to get someone called the worst of the worst mad at you. He's a vampire that's so old he has the cloven hands and feet. Well, we know for sure that this is Kakistos. We've seen those hands before. And that he and Buffy adds up that he and Faith arrived right around the same time. So Buffy doesn't believe in coincidence, Brennan, or leprechauns.
Yeah.
Or leprechauns either. And Giles doesn't believe. Giles doesn't think leprechauns exist. It's one of the few, myths maybe that they don't actually believe in. So there you go.
The Irish will be happy about that.
Now she's going to go talk to Faith to see what she knows about Kakistos, but first she runs into Scott once again.
Always.
How have we never seen this guy before? Now he says it's his last-ditch effort to win her over. He invites her to that Buster Keaton movie festival he talked about before. This time Buffy says she's down to know more about Buster Keaton. Wink. You know what I mean? So he gives her a present, Brennan. A present.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Just so happens to be a clutter ring. The same type of ring that Angel gave her. It's an honored mortal family tradition of his. Of course, they would only been around for maybe 40 years or so, I discovered when I was doing some research before. Never mind. He gave those things so that they know that they belong together and that she has to turn the heart, so that means she's taken. Anyways, this guy just gives it to her as a present before her first date.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of takes a sting out of that cluttering. A little bit. But obviously, also, we could say Buffy's a little freaked out over this. Drops the ring. Says she can't do this. Buffy has some issues about this. I get it. Scott grabs the ring and says he gets the message. He gets a little butthurt over giving a person a ring before they've actually even had a date.
Mm-hmm.
Giles arrives, asks if she's okay. Buffy takes a second to shake it off. And then, of course, Giles tells her that Faith's Watcher is dead. Dead!
Dead.
Ugh. We go over to Faith's lovely, I don't want to say apartment, I guess hotel room. Talking to maybe it's a motel. Talking to the manager. Of course, she's behind on rent. Tries to schmooze him a little bit. Tries to work him out. But Buffy shows up. Asks about Kakistos. Wants to know what he did to Faith. Faith, of course, says it's actually vice versa. And the motel manager's hightailed it out of there by now. Told her that the roommate is any guests are extra and stuff like that, too. Just gets out of there. Faith starts packing. She's freaked out because of this Kakistos stock. Buffy says she can help. Faith says to her to mind her own business. We get a lot of minding her own businesses in this episode of season.
A lot of that, yes.
Yeah. Buffy says that Faith's a real badass when it comes to packing.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone would know about being a badass packer, it would be our good friend Buffy Ann Summers. As Faith begins to leave, Buffy mentions her watcher, asks if Kakistos killed her. Faith says there isn't a word for what he did to her, so that can't be good. There's plenty of words.
That's really horrifying, but yes.
Yeah, that is not. You know what? Probably not great. Then, of course, there's a little knock on the door. Faith looks through the keyhole. We see the motel manager's back. Kind of an odd look on his face.
Looking a little dirty.
Almost looks like what is his name? SpongeBob SquarePants with the eyes at the sides and stuff like that. Anyways, he doesn't even say anything. She still opens the door though. It turns out Brennan, it was Kakistos. Kakistos, Trick, 3 lackeys. There's all these guys here. Just holding the dead manager. What a good prank. You know what? Actually, when I say good, I mean effective. It's an effective
By the way,
prank.
Mr. Trick is impeccably dressed.
Of course he is. He's a gentleman of all things.
Gentleman, yes.
Kakistos isn't. Does the classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer grabbing her by the throat thing here. Naturally, of course. Buffy, of course, closes the door. Pardon me. But he breaks through. The doors in Sunnydale really aren't that strong at all. Faith is starting to melt down a little bit. The vamps start coming in the front. They start hightailing it through the back. Luckily, they just a back window onto a back alley in a motel. I don't get it. It's just some of the geography of this town is crazy. Now, the back lane is humongous, of course, like every back lane. Pardon me again. So, Faith tells Buffy that she watched what Kakistos did to her watcher, but couldn't stop him, so she ran. Buffy tells her the first rule, reminding her of it. Number 1 is don't die, Brennan.
That's a good rule.
It's the only rule I've lived my life on so far. Well, not the only rule, but I will agree. It's my number 1 thing. Just don't die. Now, while Buffy's there talking away, Faith discovers that through all the buildings they could have ran to, of all the buildings in this huge town that supposedly only has one Starbucks, they managed to run into Kakistos' lair.
Yeah,
What
I thought that was a
bad
bit
luck.
strange.
What awful luck for them. They found his spot. Oh my
I
god.
wish it had been Taquitos lair. That would have been.
Taquitos Lair would be a great name for a restaurant. Anyways, Buffy says that he drove them there somehow. I don't see it, but whatever. Now, vampires are starting to arrive. Not great. First, we get the 3 red shirts. We know what's going to happen with these guys for the most part.
Ensign Ricky.
Yeah. And then Tostitos is going to show up here. Buffy reminds Faith not to die. Something that you don't have to remind me about. You know what I mean? But he hits her pretty hard. Yeah, this guy isn't fooling around. Busting a long 4x4. He throws it through the thing. I don't know what this thing was even holding up. It couldn't have been a structural 4x4. As nothing fell. But luckily, again, remember, it busts a large 4x4 into a very large piece. Anyways, Buffy starts taking care of a couple of vamps. Mr. Trick is smart. Not only a gentleman, he's smart. All he's doing right now is observing. Buffy stakes one of them, goes after the boss. Time to, Kakistos has had a good run. But it's over now. But the Lady Redshirt shows up. Trick, mind you, though, stops her and says that if they don't do something, the master is going to get killed. And that their prayers are with him. He's just thinking those 2 steps ahead. That Trick. Anyways, he says that there's a reason why vengeance crusades have gone out of style. Modern vampires see the big picture. You know what I mean?
At least he does.
Yeah, of course. He's playing chess. They're all playing checkers. He's playing chess. Yeah, Buffy has been actually taking it to. I keep wanting to say Taquitos, Kakistos, and stakes him. But yeah, it's not enough to damage his ancient body. But remember that 8-foot 4x4 that was snapped earlier? Yeah, Faith has that now and puts that thing absolutely through him, impaling him, turning him to dust. Afterwards, it turns out the 2 of them were famished. So there you go. Maybe Faith was right. And so we go back to the library.
Well, better hungry than the other thing.
I suppose so. Back to the library, Giles informs Buffy and Willow that Faith will be looked after by him until her new watcher arrives, which is going to be fun. Just going to say. Can't wait for that to happen. Buffy tells them that Faith had a lot to deal with, but put it behind her. Faith has really turned a corner here. I bet you she's going to be all right. Yeah. She then confesses, of course, to Giles and Willow that when Angel was cured, actually, when she killed him.
Willow's spell worked.
Yeah, Willow's spell worked. Tells the actual facts of what happened now and hopes it helps with Giles' spell. He says that it will. Willow apologizes to her. I think this is the first time Willow's apologized. I think I tried to keep track of that last episode. Buffy apologized there for 15 seconds, it seems, but everyone still dumped on her. Yeah, Buffy feels better now, letting it all out. They say confession is good for the soul. Have you ever heard that before, Brennan? Then she leaves. Willow tells Giles that she really can't help with this binding spell. Look, she cured Angel. Giles tells her, though, there was no spell, Brennan. He knew what he had to do to get Buffy to actually fess up. He let this weight get lifted off of her. But before she leaves the school, she finds Scott. And on purpose, now it's her finding Scott.
Yes.
which is a nice little turnaround. Asks if he still wants to go see the Buster Keaton movie festival. He says, "Oh, I'm gonna have to think about it. Sure, I'll do it." You know, the kind of thing. Like, oh, how adorable. Yes, he does. But she says she has something she needs to do before that.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see her at night back to Crawford Street Mansion. She's
Strangest looking mansion.
Yeah, she's still has a little bit of moonlight in there for some reason. I think she's standing in the exact same spot where she killed Angel. She takes her clatter ring, puts it on the ground, says goodbye, and then incredibly slowly walks away.
Yes.
I thought that was a very dramatic walkaway. Not maybe as dramatic as the fade out we have on the clatter ring.
Oh boy.
And the episode is over. But wait, there's a light. There's a light at the clatter ring, Brennan. There's the clatter ring shaking about. What is happening? Oh, there's a flash of light, and all of a sudden, a naked man is falling out of midair, landing on that exact spot.
Yeah.
Who could this be? Wait a second. I recognize that naked body. I recognize that face. It's our undead old pal Angel. Angel's
Indeed.
back. Angel is back, Brennan. Unbelievable. Never thought it would happen. Didn't think it could happen. What are they going to think of next? Bringing Spike back if he ever dies? Okay. Or Darla. Now, end of the episode. So, next time, the next episode, Brennan, Oz turns out may be a very, very bad dog.
Maybe.
We'll learn about more in Beauty and the Beast. And this has been a lot of fun. And I thank you so much for showing up on Rewatchers Council with me, Brennan.
You're welcome.
Talking about a truly great episode of Buffy.
Yeah, and this season it's got some really great episodes.
Just the lineup coming up, guys. So good.
I cannot wait to ban Candy.
It's only a few episodes away. We're going to meet so many characters that are going to stick around. There's going to be a return of a certain character. I think it's the only time they show up in this entire season, but there's just so much. There's so much. And we haven't even met the mayor. There's so much.
The mayor.
So much good stuff to come. Now, where will people find you? If you're not just, most of the people on the internet only want to watch the Rewatchers Council. But guess what? There's other things on the internet as well. Not just on YouTube, on Twitch. Brennan, are you up to anything other than guesting on Rewatchers Council?
Yes, indeed. You can follow my podcast, Page Turners They Were Not. My Star Wars podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And also, as part of that, you'll get Random Truck, which is my Star Trek podcast.
Nice.
And you can find me on X at Brennan Mystical.
Okay. I keep forgetting what my X handle is. I think it's Snark Yeti. Not a great follow. I don't know if I ever write things. I just retweet and like things for people. So there you go. I do a little bit. Okay. As for myself, LGRN After Snark returns this weekend. I'll be talking with our pal Danny about Canadian Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend, Brandon.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
I'm sure it's one of the most popular American holidays.
Well, I did see a live turkey today, so.
You know what? A weird thing. I saw 3 wild turkeys last weekend. There you go. Just that time of year. It's turkey time. It's a turkey time, Brandon. Let's see. Over on the highlights, we got starting 11 Tuesdays, a couple weeks off because of the international break. I just did an episode of Playoff Beards last night with Ryan about the NHL season getting underway. We did some predictions and just went over all the teams, what we think. Let's see what else. Plenty of stuff on the network. Lots of stuff with the post-credit gang. They watched the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings show, or whatever. There's a post-credits episode for every episode right after the show aired. They're doing the Penguin right now. I've only seen the first episode of the Penguin, but I really liked it. I just have to find the time to watch the other ones. I'm really enjoying the Penguin. Agatha all along. I'm surprised about how much I really do like it. And they're also doing Agatha all along.
The latest episode.
Yeah, I think it just may have, as the time of taping, just aired.
Came out a couple hours ago, yeah.
Right. So yeah, all exciting stuff, all covered on the post credits here on LGRN. What else will you need? Maybe like, subscribe. No, there's a coffee we're on now and stuff like that. So if you want to buy us a coffee, all of this, Let's Get Ready Network. There's probably links to the descriptions, links in the descriptions. There's a banner that runs, but I'm old, guys. I can't remember everything. So please like, subscribe, share, comment. Savor. Is that a right thing to say? Probably not. Okay, guys, I'm just wandering here. I'm just babbling. Okay, so on behalf of my good pal Brendan, the Rewatchers Council at large, and myself, I'd like to thank everyone for watching.
If the apocalypse comes, beat me.
Oh my goodness, that's exactly what you should do. Bye-bye, everybody.